The views and opinions expressed on the following program may not necessarily reflect the views of the staff, management, or board of Hope Media Group and KSBJ. It's what's happening around us, in our town, suburb, city, in our community. It's Community Beat with Kim Kasi McKee on 89.3 KSBJ.
Well, hello and welcome to Community Beat, where we're keeping you tuned in to the topics that are impacting our local communities and helping them thrive. I'm your host, Kim Kasi McKee, and today we'll be speaking with someone who has a huge heart for youth and who serves as the faith-based and community engagement specialist with the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, Genesis Elizondo. Well, hello, Genesis. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Genesis is going to talk to us about something that I've come to learn more about. It's called Blue Sunday. So Genesis, if you will, tell us, what is Blue Sunday all about?
So Blue Sunday is a designated national day of prayer for churches to pray for children who are abused and also for those helping those children and caring for them. So churches and parishes all around the country will take time during their service to pray for the children experiencing abuse, as well as a couple churches in 2 other continents that we're aware of.
That is amazing. You know, Genesis, sometimes people minimize the power of prayer, and they might say, wow, what they feel so overwhelmed about circumstances and situations, and they throw their hands up and say, all I can do is pray. And really, that is the foundation for anything else we're going to do. The most important thing we can do for children who are being victimized by abuse and those who are victimizing them is to pray. Isn't that right?
Exactly. When we pray, that's when God moves and speaks to us and gives us direction and guidance on what we should be doing.
There you go. Prayer is that foundation. And from there, He can speak to us in any number of ways, but what our assignment should be to be a part of the solution and not to be a part of the problem. So tell us, Genesis, how prevalent is abuse in our area? What is that known number of children that have been abused?
So in 2022, there were 5,619 confirmed victims of abuse, in which were children, and 28 fatalities due to child abuse or neglect. And that is in Harris County alone.
Wow.
So, of course, we still have the greater Houston area and statewide. So
that's a startling number when you think of how startling, but not surprising, when you think of what we see on the news every day, how many children are victimized and even lives that are lost. And our hearts break when we see that. And so it's a blessing when we can become involved in whatever way that we can and find out what some of those ways are that we can be involved in a very meaningful way. So tell us, when is Blue Sunday?
So this year, Blue Sunday is on Sunday, April 30th. And nationally, April is recognized as Child Abuse Prevention Month. And because of that, Blue Sunday takes place the last Sunday of every April.
Okay, so April is known as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and Blue Sunday takes place on the last Sunday of April. And for how long has that been taking place?
Since 1994.
Amazing. So Genesis, tell us, how can churches become involved with Blue Sunday?
There are so many ways. And before I talk about that, I would like to quote Bishop Aaron Blake Sr., who is the co-founder and CEO of Harvest Family Ministries. I love what he says. He says, "It's not until we look into the faces of the hurting that we are truly moved with compassion and compelled to do something. Not just to be a sightseer, but to allow God to break your heart for what breaks his. To see him at work in some of the darkest places and to boldly ask him, 'What can I do?' We can't do everything, but we can all do something. And Blue Sunday is a perfect way to start for those who are interested to start with praying. We're asking churches all over the nation, pray on Sunday, April 30th, specifically for the children who are abused and for those caring for them and helping them. And so we're asking, pray for their physical, mental, and emotional healing. Also for their safety, and for those children who are not able to be with their biological parents or families, pray that they're placed in a loving home with caring people, and pray that they find hope. So we want churches to pray for these children who are abused and their families, but we also would like for the churches and the local communities to support these families and just wrap around them before the abuse happens, in hopes to prevent further abuse and future abuse.
So there are also ways that churches can become involved in addition to prayer. There are churches who may already have this as an ongoing subject of prayer, and many who may pray personally on a regular basis or daily basis for victims of abuse. But what are some other tangible ways that churches can become involved?
So churches can connect with their local faith-based and community engagement specialist to learn more about children and family needs in their community and ways they can get involved. If you visit dfps.texas.gov and search faith-based, you will find the information there. I am one of the 4 faith-based and community engagement specialists here in the Houston and Greater Houston area. I can be reached at 737-249-8177. And I would be glad, I know my coworkers, we'd be glad to just share ways to get involved. And so some other ways that churches get involved specifically to help this population is by having toy drives, diaper drives, car seat drives, and school supply drives. Those things go directly to the children and families involved with the Child Protective Services system. Other ways are sometimes churches will host and or fund fun events for the children and families in their areas, especially during holidays and things like that. And also churches can become involved with Care Portal. Care Portal is an excellent tool that's used to link churches to the children and families in their local communities that are involved with the CPS system. It allows not only for an opportunity to meet the physical need of that family or child, but it also allows for an opportunity to minister, for churches to minister, to meet these families in person, to offer to pray for them and just support them and be there for them in what's likely the most hardest time of their lives. And so for more information on that specific way, you can visit careportal.org. So there's so many other ways. Churches can educate their congregations. I think it's important for churches, especially, to be able to talk about this topic of child abuse openly, so that way children and other people can feel safe talking about it. And they can allow faith-based and community engagement specialists like myself and my coworkers here in this area to go and educate the congregation about the role of CPS, of Child Protective Services, and learn about reporting child abuse and neglect and what that looks like. Because all over the state, there are faith-based and community engagement specialists. So
I think that's so important, what you said about learning about signs and what to look for. It literally could be a matter of saving someone's life, some child's life, just being able to proactively report, see something and say something, whether it's in a family, in a school, I mean, in a grocery store, for goodness sake. You know, we can we can see things that, as you stated, sometimes people don't want to feel like they're nosying in someone else's business, or let me stay out of that. But it really is our responsibility, isn't it?
Yes. In Texas, it's called that we're mandated reporters. So when we see abuse or neglect happening, we are to call the hotline, which is 1-800-252-5400 to make a report. But that's really important, to just be aware of what to look for and what to know and who to call. And we really want to educate the churches about what CPS does in general and how they can get involved. And sometimes churches can also provide their own education and provide parenting classes to the new parents in their churches.
That's good.
Or to parents, if they see that there's a family or parents in need of guidance specifically with their children, they can provide that ongoing support for them, for their members. They can even offer their church buildings for CPS staff training, so that way the staff can be better trained on how to work with this population too. Those are some ways that churches can get involved.
Excellent. If you're just tuning in, we're speaking with Genesis Elizondo. She works as the faith-based community engagement specialist, and they are preparing and rallying the troops to be a part of something that is known as Blue Sunday. And again, tell us what Blue Sunday is for those who may be just tuning in, Genesis.
Yes, Blue Sunday is a very special day. It's nationally recognized as the day of prayer for churches to pray for children who are being abused, as well as for those who are helping them and caring for them. And this year, it will take place on April 30th, which is, of course, this Sunday.
Sure. Do you need the churches to register?
The churches can register at bluesunday.org. They can register at that website. It's just to keep account so that way they know how many churches are praying, because there is power in numbers. Of course, the churches do not have to register, and there is no fee associated with it.
Sure. And also understand that there are excellent resources, videos, information, all kinds of materials that the churches can use if they do go to your website, which is?
The website for Blue Sunday is just that, bluesunday.org.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like for us to know about it?
I would just like to thank all the churches who are praying and encourage everyone to join together. There is so much power in prayer. Let us pray for this specific population. And if there's anyone interested, please visit the websites, www.dfps.texas.gov. Feel free to contact me for questions about how to get involved. I can be reached at 737-249-8177.
Excellent. That's 737-249-8177. And don't worry, this is her work cell. So you don't have to worry about blowing up her personal cell if you have questions for her or any of the other faith-based community engagement specialists. So not only will we be praying for Blue Sunday, but Genesis will be praying for you as well and your team in the very important work that you do day after day. And as always, we want to say thank you for what you do for our community, especially our children. And thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you so much.
And as always, thank you, our wonderful audience, for joining us. And we hope you'll join us again next week on another edition of Community Beat. I'm Kim Kasi-McKee on 89.3 KSBJ. Well, hello and welcome to Community Beat, where we're keeping you tuned in to the topics that are impacting our local communities and helping them to thrive. I'm your host, Kim Kasi-McKee. And today we'll be talking about an epic opportunity to see the diversity of our great city on display through Houston's International Festival. Our guests are LJ Woodard, President CEO of the International Festival, and Janella Del Mundo G, who's the media spokesperson and the Asian American Pacific Islander co-chair. Welcome to both of you, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, LJ, we'll begin with you. Please tell us about the International Festival.
Well, we're excited about the International Festival. Of course, you know, with Houston being the single most ethnically diverse region within the United States of America, we're so proud to celebrate our city's multiculturalism and diversity here in Houston. You know, IFES is our city's and nation's official celebration of multiculturalism and diversity. And it's just a way to eliminate the polarity and division in our world and to send a message of peace and harmony, that we can coexist and celebrate each other's cultures and differences and show that we are one world family across the globe.
Wow. And speaking of, International Festival has quite a history in our city, doesn't it? When did it all get established?
This got started in 2014, of course, you know, and IFES has been going on for quite some time now. You know, it's just a way to really, really celebrate the diversity within our city and to really enforce the need of who we are as a nation and who we are as a city to come together and to build these relationships that go across cultural barriers.
It really is an education in and of itself. It's like going around the world without leaving Houston. And having gone to the International Festival for many times, it's just a beautiful display of our diversity. and just being able to just kind of go from the various booths and activities. It's just a great cultural experience. And so, if you'll just jump in, Janella, and tell us what are some of the key features of iFest. So, when a person goes, what can they expect to do and to see?
Well, the iFest will be on Saturday, May 20th from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Discovery Green. It is free for the public to attend, but you can log on at www.theinternationalfest.org. And LJ, remind me if that's correct, that they can register.
Correct. You can RSVP to participate, although it's not a charge to get into the festival. We do really encourage the community to RSVP so that you have a seamless transition into the festival.
So let me just repeat that part. So the festival is free, but you are encouraged to register because that just, I'm sure, helps with preparations all the way around and just for a smoother experience for all of the attendees.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And there are 3 segments to the iFest. It's from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m., but it's divided into 3 parts. The first part of celebrations of the diversity from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And it celebrates the different ethnic cultures that we have, and there will be some performances as well. So you will hear music and you will see some performances from people on stage. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. is the AAPI, the Asian American Pacific Islander celebration. May is also Asian Pacific American Heritage Month as well. And so there is a spotlight there of the different cultures throughout Asia from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., they're going to do the culture spotlight. The spotlight country is Egypt. And this is in partnership with the UN and UNESCO. So they're going to have a feature celebration with the UN's outreach to the community and UNESCO and promoting that diversity that we have there. There will be booths as well. So people can go ahead and sign up to have booths. And last year, when I went, I bought I bought a sari. Someone was selling saris. I bought earrings. There are people who made earrings. There was art there. There was food there. And so they have all those items and booths that you could kind of walk around and see, representing lots of different cultures in Houston.
I have partaken of both of those things you've mentioned. The food is fabulous. So just an opportunity to try the different ethnic foods, and which I know that's one of the highlights for LJ. And
yes.
Also, I have seen the beautiful fashions, and I've even purchased some items and some unique items. That's one of the attractions, to be able to go to the different vendors and see these wares and artifacts and different decorative pieces. One of the times I went with a friend of mine who happened to be decorating her home in African prints and art, and she found so much of what she wanted right there at the International Festival and never had to leave Houston. And so that's just a key feature that I know people will enjoy. So talk about the family. Who does this target? What age group would be appropriate, and who would best enjoy this experience?
I think everyone would enjoy it. I'm from grandparents to babies. I think everyone would enjoy the shows, the music, the food, the art is for everyone. I think all of Houston would enjoy it.
That's great. That's great. So tell me, how can the community come alongside you? Do you need volunteers? And if so, what are some of the things that volunteers will do?
Yes, we certainly need volunteers. We need as many volunteers as possible. There's so many areas to volunteer. We have our volunteer registration area. We have crowd control. We have food exhibitions. We have our cultural world heritage sections and stage management. There's just so many ways to volunteer and be a part of this amazing event. And so we invite you. There's no criteria to be a volunteer. You just come out and be a part of our city's diversity celebration, the official celebration for that. And if you want to volunteer, you can visit us online, or you can send us an email at ifest@theinternationalfest.org.
Awesome. Now, what about booths? The experiences we had, many of them were related to those who are staffing those booths, the fashion, the food, various activities. Are you still open for people to have booths? And if so, what do they need to do?
Absolutely. Bring out all of your artifacts, bring out all of your cultural materials and products and all that stuff, and just really educate us on your heritage and your culture. We certainly welcome that. We want as many people to be a part of this as possible. So, yes, there are still opportunities to register. I think our registration deadline ends on May 15th, so you still have time to register. You can register either online at theinternationalfest.org, or you can send an email to ifest@theinternationalfest.org.
Awesome. If you're just tuning in, our guests are talking with us about Houston's International Festival known as iFest. It is a time honored tradition that's been happening in our city since 2014, where you will experience cultures around the world without having to leave Houston. We're excited that KSBJ will be a part of iFest this year. So you will find details on our website at ksbj.org. We'll tell you more specifically our location on site, and everything will take place on May the 20th from 2 till 9 o'clock p.m. at Discovery Green. And all the details are right there at theinternationalfest.org to find information about all of the activities that will take place at the festival. And you can go to our ksbj.org to find out specifically where we'll be located on site. So is there anything else you'd like to say, LJ, to just encourage folks to come out to be a part of a great family event?
Yes, there is something for everyone. Please come out. Please be a part of all we have to offer at the International Festival USA. The event will feature a representation of many different cultures. Food vendors will be represented. There'll be a variety of cuisines and booths highlighted at the festival, other organizations that will be presenting. So it's going to be a really, really great time for the community. It's just to come together and show one united front. We're promoting peace, love, and friendship here. So what a way to bring out your children and your family and come together and just show love to the community.
That's awesome. Boy, don't we need more of that peace, love, and friendship. Janella, so tell me, what was your first experience with iFest?
Yes, years ago, I first learned about iFest because I was a cultural dancer and I cultural dance, Filipino traditional cultural dancing. And what was wonderful for me with iFest is that I got to see other performances and other people in their native costume. And it was just beautiful to see all those different cultures and different countries and continents all in one area in the city. And I just loved it.
Oh, that's great. A great entry point for you. And you've been a part of it, no doubt, ever since. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for those of you who are putting on iFest. I'm sure it is a mammoth task for a lot of things to come together, but it is so very well worth it for the enjoyment and the experience that folks who attend will have. So we want to encourage you to learn more about this year's International Festival, or iFest USA. Go to theinternationalfest.org. That's theinternationalfest.org. That'll take place Saturday, May 20th at Discovery Green from 2 to 9. All right. Well, thanks again to our guests today, LJ Woodard, who's President and CEO of the International Festival, and Janella Del Mundo G., who serves alongside her husband as chair and co-chair of API, and she's also the media spokesperson. To learn more, you can visit theinternationalfest.org. And as always, thank you, our wonderful listening audience, for joining us. And we hope you'll tune in again next week on another edition of Community Beat. I'm Kim Kasi McKee on 89.3 KSBJ.
Thanks for joining us for Community Beat with Kim Kasi McKee. Join us every Saturday morning at 5:30 on 89.3 KSBJ.